distinguished mayors, a very warm welcome to this online conference. We are very happy, we are very excited to have so many participants joining us virtually for this exchange on experiences of Southeast European local governments in post-COVID-19 socio-economic recovery. So this morning, when I turned on the radio back here in Berlin, so there was a comment in the radio that someone said, we have to learn from the crisis. And I can't tell you how many times I heard that during the last 3 or 4 months. We have to use the crisis and we have to learn from it. But in very rare cases, I really learned something and people were really sharing some learning points. But today it will be different. So today we are really taking a deep dive in your municipal experiences during the times of crisis. But most interestingly, we are also going to learn about your practices and your success stories, which you implemented as a reaction in your towns, in your municipalities, in the cities, in the region. And we're very much looking forward to learn from different mayors, from different local administrations and local governments, and to share these stories today with all the participants. So we will have a different setup today. So there won't be PowerPoint presentations, but we are sharing as an introduction little videos from the different municipalities so that you get a direct idea and some images what was happening in these municipalities. And then in 3 panels we are going to discuss, and we're also going to involve the audience in these panel discussions. So we can't have you all in with a direct contribution, but we would like to invite you to use the chat functionality. So you see the control bar on your Zoom window, and there right in the middle, you see the chat box. If you click on it, you can write a comment either to one of the participants in private, or if you select all the participants get your question or your comment, and my colleagues from the NALAS team will help us to manage the different comments and the different contributions from your side, and we will bring it in to the panels, and we will give these questions to our speakers and panelists. So this is the way you can contribute, and you can yourself make heard. So we have 3 panels. The first panel is on community mobilization. There we have interesting cases from Istanbul and from Kolibashi. In the second panel, we are going to discuss about improving access and opportunities. So there we will have experiences coming from Slovenia and Montenegro. And there we have mayors with us that are going to report about it. And we have support to local economy. So there we have experiences from 2 further municipalities from Croatia and from Romania. So you can look forward to a very interesting exchange of opinions and positions. So I would have 2 more organizational issues. So we will we will mute you so during this conference, so that we are not going to be disrupted or distracted from any background noise. So if anything you have to say, please write in the chat box, and we will help the colleagues in the panels to unmute themselves. And we are going to record this session. You see here in the upper part, you see this little red dot. So this is the sign for recording. We would appreciate if you would agree to this recording of the session. Then we can put that also on the NALA's website and share that for other colleagues that couldn't make it today. So a last point which we would like to say, we would like to express gratitude to all the partners. We will come back to this point at the very end that helped us to organize this conference, that helped us in carrying out the survey, and that will be also part of the first sessions that we are going to review, and that we are going to get a presentation of the key learning points of the survey, which was carried out in the region during the last couple of months. So that's it for an introduction. I would like to already hand over for an official welcome address and a short welcome note to the NALA's president, to Mayor Emanuil Manolov. And it's a great pleasure to have you with us, this time virtually, but yeah, so next time we will meet again in person, but please give your welcome note to the pedestrians, dear Mayor.
Уважаеми колеги кметове от мрежата на НАЛАС, уважаеми гости, приветствам ви сърдечно с добре дошли на нашата онлайн конференция.
Dear fellow mayors of National Associations of NALAS Network, dear distinguished guests, I warmly welcome you to this online exchange.
Темата е сред основните приоритети в моя списък, откакто поех председателството на НАЛАС през април. Бих искал да благодаря на екипа на НАЛАС, както и на всички вас за усърдната работа, благодарение на която днешният обмен е възможен и имаме солидна основа за нашата дискусия, посредством изчерпателния доклад от проучването, което ще представя.
This topic has been on top of my priority list since I took the seat as NALAS president in April. I would like to thank NALA's team and all of you for working hard to make this exchange possible and for building a solid ground for our discussion today by having a comprehensive study report ready to present.
Ще акцентирам върху две основни точки: драматичното въздействие на кризата върху местните финанси и важността на трансграничното сътрудничество за справяне с кризата в търсене на най-добрите решения.
There are two important points I would like to highlight: the dramatic impact of the crisis to local finances and the importance of cross-border cooperation in coping with the crisis by searching for best solutions.
Първо, ясно е, че здравната и социалната криза вече се трансформира в криза на местните финанси. Гледайки напред, местните власти от Югоизточна Европа ще се сблъскат с невиждани нива на несигурност и трябва да вземат трудни и спешни мерки за преразглеждане на бюджета в контекста на очакваната нарастваща разлика между приходите, разходите и намалената икономическа активност, особено в някои сектори.
Firstly, it is already clear that the health and social crises have transformed into a crisis of local government finance. Looking forward, Southeast Europe local governments will face extraordinary levels of uncertainty and will have to make difficult emergency budget rationing decisions in a context of expected growing gap between revenues, costs, and reduced economic activity, especially in some sectors.
Ако проблемите не бъдат адресирани ефективно, местните власти могат да загубят до 30% от приходите си до 2022 година. Ако не се противодейства с ефективни мерки, предоставянето на услуги ще бъде застрашено. По същия начин всички успешни реформи в сферата на местните финанси, постигнати през последното десетилетие, ще бъдат изложени на риск. Фискалната децентрализация в Югоизточна Европа трябва да продължи да бъде подкрепена, ако искаме по-устойчиви местни власти и гарантиран достъп до обществени услуги.
If not effectively addressed, local governments may lose up to 30% of their revenues by year 2022. If not countered with effective measures, the delivery of services will be jeopardized. Similarly, all successful local finance reforms achieved in the past decade will be put at risk. The fiscal decentralization in Southeast Europe should continue and be supported if we want more resilient local governments and guaranteed access to public services.
Второ, мисля, че всички сме наясно, че ефектите от кризата с коронавируса имат трансгранично разпространение. Това отново демонстрира силната взаимоотвързаност между икономиките в Югоизточна Европа. Всички ние сме част от глобалната верига за доставки и проблемите, засягащи един, могат да бъдат косвени последици за други. Очевидно е, че не можем да се справим с кризата в изолация, а трябва да има многонационален подход в търсенето на най-добри решения.
Secondly, I think we are all aware that this COVID crisis also have cross-border spillover effects. It once again showed the strong interlinkages between our economies in Southeast Europe. We are all part of the global supply chain, and problems affecting one can have indirect consequences for the rest. It is clear that we cannot cope with such crises in isolation, but we should have a multinational approach in our quest for best solutions.
Гледайки към бъдещето, трябва да разглеждаме кризата и като възможност да подобряваме местните услуги и да насърчаваме развитието в дългосрочна перспектива.
Looking ahead, we need to perceive the crisis also as an opportunity to improve local services and boost local development in long term.
Усилията сега трябва да се концентрират върху възстановяване на нашите общности и икономики. В същото време възстановяването да не е самоцелно, а да дава възможност за устойчиво развитие и прилагане на активни политики.
Efforts must now focus on the recovery of our communities and economies. At the same time, recovery should not be an aim in itself, but also provide for sustainable development and active policies.
Сега повече от всякога имаме нужда от истинска вертикална и хоризонтална координация, сътрудничество и консултация между нивата на управление, за да предотвратим препокриването на дейностите и да намалим до минимум риска от фрагментирани отговори на кризата.
Now, more than ever, we need real vertical and horizontal cooperation, coordination, and consultation between levels of government to prevent overlapping activities and to minimize the risk of fragmented responses.
Асоциациите на местните власти имат ключова роля в координацията и сътрудничеството между отделните нива на управление и следователно заемат една от най-важните позиции в отговора спрямо пандемията, както и в планирането и прилагането на мерките за социалното и икономическо възстановяване. Техните усилия в тази сфера следва да бъдат подкрепени.
Local government associations play a key role in the coordination and cooperation across levels of government, and therefore have an irreplaceable position in the response to the pandemic and in planning and implementing the social and economic recovery, and that is why they must be supported in these challenging tasks.
И както ще видим днес, научените уроци и споделен опит могат да помогнат на местните власти от Югоизточна Европа да се справят с бъдещи кризи. Наша отговорност е като регионална мрежа да документираме това познание и да създадем възможности за ефективен обмен. Също така, трябва да разработим и политически препоръки на нашите национални асоциации на местните власти в тяхната застъпническа дейност.
As we will see today, lessons learned and shared experience can help Southeast Europe local governments in coping with future crises. It is our responsibility as a regional network to document this knowledge and create opportunities for effective exchange. Similarly, we need to develop also policy recommendations and support advocacy efforts of our national local government associations.
В заключение искам да кажа, че очаквам с нетърпение предстоящата дискусия и се надявам, че всички ние максимално ще се възползваме от нея. Благодаря.
I would like to conclude by saying that I am looking forward to the upcoming discussion and hope we will all make the best out of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the NALA's president. Thank you, Mayor Manolov, for this strong message that cooperation between the different levels of government is needed now more than ever. So this is, I think, a message which we will take up also at the very end when it comes to the policy recommendations. We got this message from your side. Thank you very much. So we have our next distinguished guest. It is Mrs. Gun-Marit Helgensen. You are president of the Chamber of Regions of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities of the Council of Europe. And the presentation Gun-Marit Helgensen is giving us is about safeguarding local governance and government in times of crisis. So it's great to have you with us. We are looking forward to your contribution.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me. Dear mayors, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this opportunity to exchange with you today and share the views and work of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities of the Council of Europe. I would like first and foremost to congratulate mayors and local elected representatives for their unwavering support to one another, to the principles and ideals of local self-government during this unprecedented time we are experiencing. Your constant interaction, discussions and consultation with community members during this pandemic has allowed for grassroots initiatives to be designed, implemented and shared with peers here today, thus benefiting a whole network of actors working and pursuing local self-governance. I would also like to take the time to highlight the work of NALA's president, Mr. Emanuil Manolov, and his determination in maintaining the topic of post-crisis recovery at the heart of the debates and discussions through the network's activities. In line with the priority defined at the beginning of this term, President Manolov's drive has provided NALA's members with the appropriate tools in preparing for the aftermath of the COVID-19 crisis. We must now look forward to economic and community recovery. The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic is far more than a health crisis. It has affected societies and economies all over the world in a profound and unprecedented manner. Local authorities are at the front line of the management of the crisis, facing extraordinary levels of uncertainty and having to make difficult emergency budget rationing decisions. As the NALA's survey on the COVID-19 social and economic recovery at the local level in Southeast Europe suggests, and it is also our analysis, in the longer term, authorities will face large revenue declines that may lead to drastic budget cuts and to the reduction of public services. Moreover, we have witnessed some unprecedented worrying trends in relation to multi-level governance, as stated by the Congress Bureau in its declaration adopted in June this year. Some governments have imposed, within or outside the context of states of emergency, measures that compromise the political autonomy of subnational authorities, with far-reaching consequences for fundamental rights and freedoms and the democratic functioning. We have also observed that the effectiveness or failure of responses to the pandemic do not necessarily depend on the level of decentralization, as multi-level governance systems do not pose obstacles to decision-making. On the contrary, they increase the quality of decisions and show greater flexibility in adapting to emergency situations. Actually, multi-level governance can be used by local and regional authorities to increase their effectiveness and tailor solutions to specific needs. Therefore, I would like to emphasize the role of European cities and regions as key partners of national governments at all stages, and particularly for the restoration of the economy, social life, and normal democratic functioning at the local and regional level. They must be involved in setting up mechanisms and procedures for future emergency situations in the role as actors of multi-level governance. In this regard, I would like to quote Council of Europe Secretary General Maria Pejčinović-Burić, who said, "Human rights, democracy, and the rule of law are meaningless if they are not embodied in the lives of individuals everywhere in Europe. The role of local and regional authorities is therefore essential to give concrete expressions to aspirations on the ground." This is why the Congress, we strongly believe that it is vital to ensure respect for the principles of the European Charter of Local Self-Government, in particular consultation and financial autonomy, and to restore democratic functioning at local level in full compliance with the Charter. The principle of consultation is the foundations of the goals set out by the Charter. Only through consultations and exchanges of best practices can effective and efficient policies be planned, coordinated, and implemented together with local authorities. Solidarity and experience sharing are essential in dealing with the COVID-19 crisis, as they are the cornerstone of any coordinated and planned recovery strategy. I would like to take this opportunity to recall the key role national associations have to play and reiterate our congratulations to NALAS for its efforts in supporting the member associations and staying connected to them and to local authorities throughout this crisis. Unfortunately, during the crisis, we have witnessed very strong re-centralization trends towards the national executive, reduction in local decision-making and budgetary autonomy, imposition of measures, even push for territorial reforms without proper consultations with local authorities, postponement of local and regional elections, and difficulties of elected councils to fulfill their duties. The crisis has had a serious impact on the functioning of democratic institutions and on local self-government in particular, prompting the Council of Europe Secretary General to issue guidance to national governments. In this guidance, the Secretary General has made it clear that any measures that change the division of competences between national, regional, and local levels must be temporary, and the situation must return to normal once the crisis is over. Ladies and gentlemen, as a political assembly comprising local and regional elected representatives, the Congress has had the ability to draw from members and partners' experiences in order to find responses that can be implemented on the ground in all European communities. In the context of COVID-19, our Congress Hub was created to relay partners' actions, including that of NALAS, as well as initiatives that cities and regions undertook in responding to this major crisis. It is the Congress' belief that this hub can be a source of inspiration for mayors and local elected officials in this new phase of economic and community recovery. We are also considering that during the next monitoring visits, hopefully resuming in 2021, the Congress rapporteurs will address the multi-level management of the pandemic, and they will identify the main challenges that local authorities have had to face during the crisis and in the post-COVID period, and their concrete response. These days, some of you, members of the Congress, are or were attending online meetings of the 3 Congress committees on governance, current affairs, and monitoring, respectively on the 15th, 16th, and 17th September this year. The Governance Committee held a key debate over the COVID-19 pandemic and challenges for multi-level governance. The Current Affairs Committee will discuss this afternoon, the lessons learned during the COVID-19 outbreak and how minorities in cities and regions can be protected in times of fundamental crisis. And tomorrow, a debate over the protection of the European Charter of Local Self-Government in the extreme crisis situation is also due to take place during the Monitoring Committee's meeting. Also, a report on local and regional elections in major crisis situation is to be debated and adopted. You may wish to follow these discussions that are public. The link to view them and related documents can be found on the Congress website. To conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the efforts provided by NALAS and its members. It is in strengthening local self-government and representing and defending the interests of local and regional authorities that we together find that our political positions and common interests of our respective organizations are well aligned. We share a common objective and a common need to respond to the challenges facing our communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Gunn-Marit Helgensen, that you contributed with your welcome note and your key address to our exchange of experiences. As you said, only with proper consultation and exchange mechanisms, we can strengthen the voice of local governments in these difficult times. And as we heard, There will be more consultations taking place also tomorrow. So you will find the links on the website of the Congress. And it is important to follow these important discussions, then also to bring in some of our experiences, which we are discussing today. Thank you again for joining us. We are going to proceed, but before we're doing that, I would like you to remind you about our consultation and exchange mechanism, which we have in place for this conference and this workshop. This is a chat functionality, and I said you find it down here. So far, I don't see too much interaction there. So that's why I like to invite you to really send your comments, send your questions. They're very much welcomed, and we take them seriously. If we can't answer all your questions today with the panelists, or with Thomas Prorock, who is going to present the survey's result, we are going to follow up after the conference. So please take your chance. And to activate the audience, I would do one more thing. I would like to ask the first polling question. So perhaps this makes you a little bit more active and will energize you. Semra, if you could just help me in showing the first question on the poll, and it's a very easy question. So why did you decide to attend this event? You have different options, and you can just press the button. So you like the speaker lineup, you wanted to hear what Thomas Prorock is presenting, or all the other mayors from the municipalities. You like the networking opportunities. Even though it's virtual, we can exchange, we can send chat messages, we can also afterwards exchange on the content. Or I think that's the worst case, if your boss was asking you, your superior, go there to this conference, I have no time. So then I hope still it will be interesting enough to spend the next 2 hours with us. So I see, I want to learn new things. So I think that's good to see and good to hear that you are willing to learn. And I think that's the perfect bridge for Thomas Prorock, who is now presenting a summary of the survey on the impact of COVID-19 and the recovery strategies of local governments. Thomas, we know you since many years. You are Deputy Managing Director of KDZ, which is the Austrian Center for Public Administration Research. Good to have you with us. I'm going to share your PowerPoint presentation. You are the only exception who is allowed to use PowerPoint presentation slides today. You will give me a sign, and then I will click on the next slide. So Thomas, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Stefan, for introduction, and thank you for being here. Presenting in short words the results of the NALAS study of social and economic recovery concerning the local level in Southeastern European countries, Southeastern Europe. Honestly, I can easily follow up on what President Manolov and also President Helgesen said. It's now about the question of recovery. And I like also the idea, and this is also what we see in the survey. Can we fulfill the European Charter of Local Self-Government under this very extreme situation which we are facing now? So, but I have not so much time to make philosophies. First, we made this survey. It was a big team. I cannot thank everyone of this team because we were 11 persons from NALAS, from KDZ, from NAMRB, are working on this study. But I want to say thank you to all of you, because I guess many of you have contributed to this study. About nearly 150 persons, organizations, cities, local government associations answered to the NALAS questionnaire, to the NALAS survey. So we got 150 feedbacks to make this study. What is it about? We wanted to know the impact of COVID on local governments in the region, in Southeast Europe. We wanted to know how deep is the impact, in which topics do we have the impact, in which services do we see the impact, and what to do now, recovery measures, as President Manolov said already. Could you please change the slide, Stefan? Go to the next slide. So, quick overview, just in some words. I cannot go into details because, of course, we have details from each country. But in an overview, we see that 45% of those we asked answered that there was a strong impact of COVID on the local governments in their country. But additional, nearly 40% answered that there was a medium impact. And also this medium impact, you have to imagine, means disruption of several services, midterm implications on the local community, on the local economy, also on the finances of the municipality. So we see a major impact of COVID on the municipalities in the region. 45% have said it's a strong impact. But what we also see, we see differences between the countries. I don't have it on the slide here, but when you go into the report, which is about 100 pages, you see that there are quite impressive differences between the countries. So some countries say there is a higher impact. In some countries of the region, we saw on the local level quite, let's say, compared to the others, a smaller impact. That's what we also see in the study, which is, of course, a challenge for an organization like NALAS to formulate recommendations for everyone. But what we also see from the study is that larger local governments, larger cities have a higher impact due to the study, which means they have more competencies on social services, for example, on education, for example, or have more services in these factors, and that's why they are more affected. So 45% have a strong impact, differences between the countries, and higher impacts in the cities, in the larger cities. Next one, please, Stefan. I can say the key challenges which we got back, which we saw, are the financial ones. So when we ask what was the main challenge of the local self-governments, of the local governments during the crisis, let's say during the first phase of the crisis, you see here on this slide, 86% said it's financial resources. So this was anyway the highest impact. Please remember that, I guess, and I'm afraid you know it from your own work, financial resources. But the more interesting question is, when you look into the future, what are the expected challenges for the second half of this year and 21? Then you see it will be the main challenges of financing local economy, supporting local economy, financing social protection, and ensuring public health care. So you see these are those which got over 50%, over 55%, over 50%. It's also public space and building, which is connected to investments. So financial resources, of course, the main impact, the main challenge, and for the future, ensuring local economy, ensuring social protection, public health care. Next one, please. We want to look into the future. And when you look into the study, you see really detailed information about the different expectations and impacts on the budgets, on the local taxes also, and on the transfers from the governments for each country, but I cannot go into details. But when we look into the future, we asked for recovery strategies. I think this is very important because it connects to what Mr. Manolov said. So we saw that in just 50% of the answers, which means 50% of the countries, the central government has a recovery strategy. So, and additionally, in these countries, just 30%, 1/3, the local governments have been consulted. So we have a big challenge in the question of recovery strategy in the countries, and we have a big challenge in recovery strategy, including the local governments and the view and the knowledge of local governments in these recovery strategies. And furthermore, we have a problem in our municipalities itself, because just 40% of the municipalities have their own recovery strategy. So here we have much to do in future, in coordinating with the central level concerning strategies, recovery strategies, but also in developing recovery strategies for their own municipality. Next one, please. What do we need? What are the government's implications? What do the local governments expect from, let's say, the national government or the higher levels of government? And you see, I make it quick, it's funding, so it's money for social and economic recovery, funding for public investments, and better in engaging and including the local governments in recovery measures. So 1, 2, 3, funding for social, economic and measures and investments, better engaging the local governments in the work and giving them clear roles. Next one. What are the key success factors? And I mean, this is combined to what we said before. The key success factors are more intergovernmental coordination. We heard it already from the two presidents in the introduction. This is also what these studies reveal. You see 92% see that intergovernmental coordination, which means also more inclusion of the municipalities is needed. But at the same time, it's also needed that the municipalities are empowered or enabled to adapt their own measures. And I think this is also something which is connected to the Charter of Local Self-Government, to have sufficient budget and to be allowed to adapt this budget and also laws and sub-laws to the needs of the local situations. It's the second point. And the third point is, of course, again, improved local government finances. So we are always in these three three pillars: intergovernmental coordination, more decentralization and power to the municipalities, and more support, financial support, which can also mean more competencies for local taxes. So next one, Stefan, and last one, to be on time. Conclusions. To sum up, in all countries, the local governments have been highly impacted. In some countries, a little bit more, in some countries less. But at least we see that the COVID is, of course, a challenge for all levels of government and societies. This goes to the intergovernmental coordination. The financial pressure is, of course, the main consequence of this crisis, and what we can see at the first level and at the first insight. The financial pressure is there, and we have the figures in the report. It really differentiates between the country between -10% and -50% of the local income. But it will continue in the future years. So it's clear most of the answers have said that this will be a challenge also for the next 1 to 2 years. The the local governments and the local governments associations play already a critical role in the response and the recovery. And of course, this is not really appreciated or seen by all central levels, by all central governments, and therefore they have to play also a more critical role in being involved and having more coordination. The local governments need and expect support from the national governments, from the higher levels of governments in the following three parts. We discussed it already. More money, let's say it like that, increased funding to compensate the extraordinary costs, improved policies to be more flexible, to have the opportunity to adapt to the local situations, fiscal decentralization, economic recovery, decentralization, and further improved, once back, please, it's the last one, further improved intergovernmental coordination. Please don't forget these three: funding, better policies, more decentralization, check up Charter of Local Self-Government, improve intergovernmental coordination, make easier the access to EU programs, support municipalities, and before I come to the end, Stefan, we have also positive things to say. We see in the study as more solidarity in the municipalities, in the societies. We see a boost for digitalization, and we have also seen what we got back from some examples, a better focus on domestic products. So we can also see, let's finalize or let's finish this presentation with this some positive outlooks. Thank you very much, Stefan. That's
perfect. Thank you very much, Thomas, for being in time. A last question. So now you read all the reports, you analyzed all the survey results, you also had a look at the best practices. What was most interesting for you as a person? So where did you say, that's something very new, something very innovative? So what triggered you most?
What triggered me most was, because I am also working mainly in Austria and other European countries on representing interests of local governments, that in some countries the answers concerning the impact were quite low. So that they said, okay, the impact is in our phase not such a big one. This is something which triggered me most, and I was thinking about why this is the case. We can discuss it later. On. And positive, I liked the examples. So I didn't mention it, but we also collected best practices. You will find it on the videos and on the websites. And of course, there is much innovation in these practices. So that really we have seen also resilience, or I'm not sure, resilience in English, in some best or good practice cases which Nalas collected.
Yep. Good. Thank you very much, Thomas. As I said, Thomas will be willing also to answer your chat questions after the conference. So I only see some more general comments. Someone was asking, Irakli was asking where to find the study itself. It's on the NALAS website. I think the colleagues have already posted the links to this study, which is a comprehensive one, more than 100 pages of thorough analysis and good practices. Thank you very much to Thomas and to all the other contributors that were doing this hard work to compile the different cases to a good study, to a good analysis, which can be used and I think given as an input also to other networks and to the Congress definitely as well. Thank you very much. So we are moving forward, and it was already interesting with the statements of the presidents and with the survey results. Now we are really looking into municipal practices and experiences. And that's why we are very happy for the first panel, which is about community mobilization in dealing with the crisis and the virus. We are having two interesting cases. There are more cases in the study. in this area and in this category, but we took two very interesting ones, and I would like to invite the colleagues from Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality. So we will start with a short video, a welcome message also from the mayor. And we have also the colleagues from Kolibashi, the mayor of Kolibashi, and his colleague Alexandra Vudkaryov that are also presenting a case on how to involve and mobilize the community. So for a start, I would like to ask my colleague to prepare the first video to be shared in a second. As I said, we have the honor to present you a short video of Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, and we have a short video message from Mr. Ekrem Emanuil, who is the mayor of Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality. So hopefully this works right now, that we can show the video. This is just normal practice, that this is not working for the first time. Don't get upset. We will fix that in a second, and we will give it another try, because it's a good way to present these cases from the different municipalities. So we're trying again.
It is the vision of the Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality to make Istanbul a sustainable and innovative world city by ensuring a high quality of life for its citizens and making a claim to the unique legacy of the city of Istanbul, Turkey's window to the world. During the COVID-19 crisis, many citizens lost their jobs and could not pay their utility bills. Building on the long-lasting tradition of community solidarity, the mayor introduced the Askida Fatura Paid Forward campaign. Citizens were able to use digital communication support channel to assist their disadvantaged neighbors by paying their unpaid utility bills anonymously online.
178,000 Istanbulites lost too much of their income to pay their water and natural gas bills. The total amount of their bills, which is 24,500,000 liras, was paid by wealthier Istanbulites.
Unfortunately, the pandemic increases the number of families in need on a daily basis. Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality is expanding the campaign, and citizens can provide financial support to their neighbors for food and hygiene supplies.
As Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, we are proud of both our campaign and our people.
Thank you very much. Very impressive presentation of the Pay It Forward campaign from Istanbul. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Deputy Secretary General, Mr. Ibrahim Orhan Demir, who is going to join our panel discussion as the first member. And second, we have Mr. Naim Erol Özünger, head of the IT department of the Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality. So it's great to have you with us, Mr. Demir, Mr. Özünger, and I would like to give the first question to the Deputy Secretary General. So what we saw right now in this video was about the Pay It Forward campaign, which you immediately set up when the crisis started a couple of months ago. And it has a huge result on the municipality, but also on the community. So everyone was very active contributing, and they were sharing their resources, or they were paying the bills for their neighbors and for disadvantaged group. So could you share us your key success factor? So how could you quickly launch this campaign, and why every one in Istanbul was aware about this campaign and contributed to that?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Fredrik. And thank you very much also for this meeting. So it's quite useful to cooperate each other so we can share our experience to each other. So Istanbul has 16 million population, which is a huge city, and the most infected city in Turkey. So because of its huge population. But the helping the neighbors is a tradition in Turkey, actually. So the donators help their neighbors for years. And also there is a tradition in Turkey, which is something on hook. For example, when you go to buy a bread from a bakery shop, or for example, if you want to buy only one single bread, and if you are wealthy, you pay for 3 breads. And you just get one of them and put the other on a hook. So the people who are in need comes to the bakery shop, and if they don't have money, they just get the bread from that hook for free. So it's a tradition. So it's a tradition, and the most important side of this tradition is that the donator and the people who are in need doesn't see each other. Nobody knows who gives the bread, and nobody knows who gets the bread. So we want just to carry this tradition into virtual environment in this pandemic situation. So what we did, we just announced that the wealthiest people or the donators is going to pay some of the electric bills or the natural gas bills of the people who are in need. So our social security department made a check that who are really in need of those. So the people has uploaded their bills without a name on an environment, on the internet environment. So the people who wants to donate just went there and has chosen one or two of the bills and paid with his credit card. So in this case, actually the one, as Mayor said before, 180,000 bills were paid. And that means that we have been touched almost 200,000 families, people who are in need and who needs to pay their bills. And also we have another campaign that we will succeed together. So in this campaign, we just announced that the people who needs foods or other supplies, they can just apply to the municipality, and we can collect the donates and send them some foods, also send them shopping carts, which can they shop from a supermarket. So approximately, so 1/4 of the families in Istanbul just applied for that help. And we have touched 600,000 families. We have sent foods or we have sent shopping carts. That means that 1/4 of the city has been touched by Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality. So it's actually, as I told before, it's a really tradition to help the people who are in need in Turkey. So we did just that, but we just carried this into a virtual environment.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Demir, for sharing this, that you have this tradition. So that's the point where I would like also to invite Mr. Özgüner as head of the IT department. You were combining tradition with innovation. And I think you had to work under pressure to make this campaign online, to bring it online, and to bring together the different parties on this virtual platform. So how did you do that? So how did it come that you quickly set up this online solution?
Thank you very much, Mr. Frederick. It was actually, as Orhan Bey said, about the campaign. He gave all the details. So when we started to make plan for creating this website and this technological link between the people who needs to be paid their bill and the people who is wealthier. So, but the most important thing, as Mr. Demir mentioned, who needs and who pays, they shouldn't see each other, because this is a very critical point at this campaign actually. But first of all, I want to say that COVID-19 was an unexpected situation all over the world, not only for NALAS countries. And perhaps there has been no such incident for centuries in the world, and neither countries nor municipalities were very well prepared to this unexpected situation. For this reason, managing this crisis required experience, agility, intelligence, technology, but even more sacrifice. This is very important. First of all, really, we would like to thank all healthcare professionals once again for their sacrifice. But besides, there were some other heroes too who didn't appear at this period, like heroes who provide municipal services, heroes who provide public services. So I want to applaud all of those who work devotedly in this crisis environment for all these services actually. During this crisis, we used technology very intensely, because in Turkey, when lockdown started for 65+ years old citizens, first of all, we used our big data platform and geographic information systems intensively for determining who cannot go out on the streets, whether they are alone in their home or not, something like that. And then we plan to, when we determine that 65+ years old people who cannot go out in this pandemic period, and then we plan to distribute our social helps by routing their locations. It was very important. So mainly, and first of all, we used our big data platform and GIS systems. We combined them. It was very important. And of course, when the lockdown started, people started to call our call centers, and they started to ask something, or they started to say to us what they need, something like that. And then because of this, number of calls in our call centers increased dramatically, maybe 2, 3, 5 times more. And we started to use chatbot applications there for answering citizen calls, but also for our call center agents and our IT departments and the other public services departments, we quickly get VPN connections to them and VDI equipments for connecting to our services remotely. And of course, all over the world, it was same online meeting services was very popular, like Zoom and Teams, something like that. Of course, it started to be used by public services. For Turkey, I can say that it was not easy to push them, especially for public point of view, online meeting tools, because people want to make their meeting with face-to-face physically. But this period forced everybody to make meeting online actually. And as Mr. Demir mentioned, Bill on the Hook was our very popular campaign. It was realized as a very important social solidarity project, in my opinion. and social research, integration to payment infrastructures of our water and gas companies, and bank integrations for credit card payments were our difficult milestones of these processes. But we finished all of them in 3 days, actually, with my team. So I'm proud of with my team.
Very good.
Actually.
Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Özgüner, for sharing these experiences, also for appreciating the services of municipal workers that did a great job during the last couple of months. A very short last question to Mr. Demir. Now we know that the COVID situation will be around for another months or even years, we don't know, but do you have any recovery plans in Istanbul also in terms of how to mobilize the community to recover economically and socially? Do you have some more ideas what to do in the future to bring people together and to mobilize their forces?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, of course, we have some plans and we are working to be resilient. So, resilience is really important on these days, especially, but not only the pandemic disease, but for all kinds of disasters. So, we are really, we need to be resilient as a city. So, for this situation, so we are working with C40 cities. So, we are just, we will begin a recovery program with the C40. So I hope that Istanbul will be the first city who has provided a recovery program for COVID. So we will be working with the C40 to build a recovery strategy program.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Demir, Mr. Özgüner. We have another good example which we would like to share with you from Moldova. But first of all, congratulations to the municipality of the Istanbul metropolitan area. So we wish you success and thank you for sharing your experience.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. With love from Kolibashi is our next project, which we would like to present to you. And this is from the municipality of Kolibashi in Moldova. And we're going to watch the video first.
Kolibashi is a small municipality on the south of Moldova that, like many others, was caught unprepared for the COVID-19 pandemics. The community was unable to meet its emergency needs and protect its employees in public service and its citizens.
E clar că la acel moment nici surse financiare nu avem preconizate, dar poate sursele financiare nu erau cea mai mare problemă, dar cea mai mare problemă era că aceste produse pur și simplu nu le aveam de unde le procurau.
As Kolibashi is a traditionally immigrant community, the mayor decided to act fast and call for help from the diaspora. The response was immediate. Great Britain and France diaspora mobilized, purchased and delivered the necessary supplies. The municipality got disinfectants, gloves and masks that met its urgency needs. Going a step further, the diaspora provided a modern ambulance vehicle that solved the long-lasting problem of the community. The crisis also severely hit local economy. The municipality was already active in local economic development, having established its local brands with Lathorm Kolibashi and Kolibashi Jar. During the crisis, they went online and started to sell local products throughout the country and abroad, supporting local producers mainly from the agriculture and handcrafts.
Am început a posta informații despre producătorii, toți producătorii din Kolibaș, începând de la varză, castraveți, roșii, flori, prepelițe și tot ce se produce în Kolibaș. Și această metodă, zic eu, inovativă, ne-a ajutat foarte mult pentru că producătorii agricoli au început să-și realizeze bine produsele. Cu atât mai mult, chiar producătorii de flori ne-au comunicat că și-au realizat marfa mai bine ca în alți ani. Și suntem bucuroși de faptul că aceste două branduri ne-au ajutat, nu numai și ne ajută nu numai să ne promovăm, dar și să rezolvăm problemele producătorilor locali în perioada de pandemie.
Thank you very much to the municipality of Kolibashi. We have the mayor with us and we have one of the municipal experts with us. So let's welcome Mr. Ion Dolganiuts and Alexandra Vutkaryov. So the idea of the project, which you shortly presented in this video, is to connect the diaspora, people that are living abroad, together with your local producers, with the local municipality and community. And it seemed to be also a big success that you established this link and that you were developing this brand with love from Kolibashi. So we would be very interested in get your experiences, because you are a very small municipality, you have a small community of people. Nevertheless, you mobilized the resources quickly, and perhaps you can share some of your experiences.
Hello.
Hello, John.
I am his mayor of Kolibash village. I am very happy to be with you today to share our good practice and learn from other municipalities. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Mayor. So we have also Alexandra with us, Alexandra Vutkaryov. So you are working as a municipal expert in Kolibashi. And yeah, please tell us, so how did you bring this diaspora in touch with the local community, and how did that happen?
Okay, thank you. So the key to our success lays both in the openness of Kolibash local public administration toward their diaspora and local citizens, but also in their trust in our local public administration. In addition, in Kolibash there are a variety of good practices in which an impressive number of natives who spent abroad, diaspora, got mobilized through various actions in the development of the locality. A special incentive in the massive and continuous involvement of the diaspora in the life of Kolibash village took place in 2016, when Kolibash municipality won a project in the life of co-financing was envisaged to be from diaspora. Thus, with the considerable support of the diaspora, it was possible to collect over 14,000 euros and inventory for sports, which were capitalized for the creation of one of the largest multi-purpose sports halls in the rural areas of the Republic of Moldova. Subsequently, the diaspora was also involved in the creation of the volunteer firefighter station through financial contributions, donations of equipment for firefighters. A family from Kolibash that is in England, in Great Britain, donated a high-performance ambulance. At the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, the diaspora donated disinfectants, medical gloves, masks, and other consumables for personal hygiene during the pandemic. So the first thing that we did was to establish relations with the Kolibash natives who went abroad, our diaspora, so that in 2011, we started to organize the first meetings with our natives from outside the village. We have created a database that we updated annually. Then in 2016, we launched the campaign Kolibash for Me Means, where Kolibash natives from all over the world mentioned what the home village means to them, taking into account the fact that they have been out of the village for a very long time. During this campaign, we distributed posters with the photos and the quotes exposed by them. This allowed us to bring them closer to their homeland and In fact, we provoked in them the manifestation of the feeling of local patriotism. Subsequently, for each donation or involvement in the life of the Kolybash village, we launched campaigns to thank each donor, posting thank you posters with the donor's photo and the message, Kolybash village thanks you for the donation made. The method of personal approach by the mayor of those in the diaspora was mostly used. Throughout this period, we still managed to involve the people from Kolybash, from the diaspora, due to maintaining permanent relations with them.
Good. Thank you very much. It's so easy on the one hand side to improve and to keep the relationship with former inhabitants of your municipality, but you also said, yeah, on the other hand, it is also quite some work. You started early already some years ago to set up this database, and right now it helped you at the right moment to mobilize your diaspora and your community to also have this ambulance car, which we saw in one of the photos in this video. So it's impressive that people are willing to contribute and to also make a financial contribution to the former city or municipality they lived in. Thank you very much for this example from Kolybashi. Alexandra, dear Mr. Mayor, that was very interesting to see that also smaller municipalities can do something very meaningful that creates impact on local level. Thank you very much for your example. And so we are closing already the first panel. I would like once again to activate our participants that are watching, also to put some comments, because I think it's a good opportunity to perhaps get in touch with Alexandra Vodkaryov or with Deputy Secretary General Demir to ask further questions. We will forward that to our colleagues. Thank you very much to the panelists of our first session.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Greetings to Kolybashi. So I think we are in a good flow in this online conference. There is always a little time pressure, but I'm trying not to push too hard. Nevertheless, we would like to start already the second panel. And there we also have interesting cases from Slovenia and from Montenegro. And we are going to start with the video from Slovenia. The mayor is with us, Vladimir Prepelic, who is going then also to join our panel. And then we have with us Jema Lekic from Podgorica, Montenegro. But first we start with the video from Slovenia. Okay, we're getting better. The technology works. Good.
During the COVID-19 outbreak, ensuring good quality education for all became one of the key challenges for Kočevje municipality. Switching to distance learning meant a series of adjustments that needed to take place. The key measure was the establishment of the Board of Head Teachers, which, in close collaboration with the municipality, was in charge of day-to-day management of the learning process, coordination of activities, and definition of citizens' needs. The head teachers were the contact point for the parents, ensuring that the distance learning goes smoothly. They also assessed the ICT needs of students and teachers. Based on this, priority lists were made and the needs were met with the resources of the municipality and the schools, but also with the support of the business community. During the distance learning, special support was provided to Roma students. At the end of the school year, the experience of Kočevje with distance learning was very positive. The program was implemented with no deviations compared to face-to-face learning, and the feedback of parents and students was above all expectations. This confirmed that well-formulated and managed measures give results and could be used again in case of new crisis.
The COVID-19 crisis in Slovenia was also present in the area of education. So we organized a distance learning approach that gave us some very good results. One of them represented a closer collaboration between students on one side and teachers on the other. However, one thing has to be kept in mind, and this is that the process of socialization cannot be replaced by distance learning, because socialization can be achieved only through personal contacts between the students. This will also stay a challenge for the future.
Good. I already see the mayor from Kočevje, Vladimir Prebilic, with us. Hello, dear Mr. Mayor. It's great to have you with us, and it's great to see that you are putting the children and the parents in the center of your interventions during this time of crisis. You said we have to invest into a good schooling and support system, and we don't want to leave anyone behind. So it's a good example for improving access and giving opportunities also to less privileged persons or families in the municipalities. Dear Mr. Mayor, we saw that you were organizing a process. It was not just saying do it online somehow, but you put a very strong focus also on the teachers. And I have 2 children myself. I know how difficult it was, but it seems that in your case, it worked out, and the infrastructure, the technical environment, but also the teachers were motivated, and that everyone could somehow join this online education approach. So how did you do that? So I would be very interested, because here it wasn't working that well.
Well, best regards from Slovenia. It's great to be with you. I hope you hear me well. Good. So directly to your question that was posed a few minutes ago. Yes, you're right. It was difficult. It was a great challenge also in Slovenia, not only in Kočevje, especially because kids were kept at home. And it's not only about teaching, it's also about parents that has to be present if you want children to do their homework and of course to follow the classes. So what we could do, or what we did in the meantime, is to support first the principals. We said if you wanted to help in any way, there should be one point of contact, and this is that the principals or headmasters in the schools had to get us the idea what kind of support they needed. The first one was by the hardware, so to collect the computers and to create let's say internet access to those who did not have this kind of access yet. We assembled over 55 computers and modems, along with 100 computers that already were in primary schools. So what we did, we demolished, in quotation marks, so we took the computers from the computer classrooms and we sent them to those who need that at home. Then we found out that the problem is not, of course, in quotation mark, is not how to equip people, how to equip homes, but how to provide them IT support, because it is not enough just to give them the computers, but to use them for the classes, of course. So what we did in this regard, we assembled all the IT managers or experts that we have in our municipalities, and this was done by municipality, and we sent them to the homes and basically offered to the people, I would say, a quick basic training how to use the equipment properly in order to follow the classes and of course to support the children and parents. However, in some cases, even this wasn't working. So what we did is we copied all the materials that was supposed to be delivered over the e-equipment to the homes, and we delivered this kind of materials to parents or to the children who were not successful enough either all to get or to use the computers in the way that they could follow. So it was a great work that was done not only by schools, but also by municipality, who was coordinating all the time, all the efforts. And one thing that I also think is very important is we brought on board also the local businesses, because it wouldn't be possible with the support of the local businesses, and they were part of how to afford everyone to follow the classes and to be part of the team. Yeah. So I would say at the end that we created an atmosphere that all can contribute in greater favor, so nobody, as you said, should be left behind.
Yeah, so there I would like to inquire a little bit more, because you said it was about providing IT equipment, but that's not all of it. So especially if you look at disadvantaged groups or families in the municipality, it's not enough just to provide a laptop or a computer and to say, here's the hotline. There is much more also to get these persons or these target groups online. So what additionally did you do to involve disadvantaged group in the municipalities?
So when we got the feedback that only delivering computer at home won't do, the second step was to send the IT manager. In many cases, these were also the teachers from the schools who were quite literate in computering. So they went to their homes, they talked to the persons, they explained them how to use the equipment in a way that they could follow the classes. So it was tremendous work put together by the teachers on one side, IT managers that were mobilized by municipality, and they did that work free of charge, because it was something that, my explanation was, we need you. It's not that, a mayor needs you or somebody privately needs you, but we as society needs you. And I have to say they reacted on that voluntarily and free of charge. And I think this is the best experience that we can have, that we created a very good team that helped each other, not for money, but for the benefits of society.
Perfect. Any plans for the next year already? We already talked about that with the colleagues from Turkey. So the crisis may stay a little bit longer, or the virus stay longer. So how are you right now harvesting your good results from the last school year and bring it to the new school year? So what are your plans about that?
So let me be frank and honest with you. Homeschooling cannot exchange the children in a school. So this could be something that we can help, but I think that primary focus is and has to be that children go to school, because it's not only schooling, it's also socialization process that cannot be replaced by having children at home. So currently all the students are in the classrooms. What we do, we follow the strict regulations. So it's personal hygiene, it's the social distancing, it's masks wearing. And I have to say that all the teachers who are in schools, they're using themselves as a role model. I always say children are following what you do. So they are really deeply committed to wash their hands, mask wear, making these distances between us. And up to now, we do fine. In our municipality, we don't have one case in the school. If this would happen, we have a plan, and this is that only the class who will have infection will stay at home. All the rest of the students that are today, over 2,000 of them, they should continue schooling as long as possible. So keeping children at home is the final thing if there will be a very important or very big outbreak of the infections.
Good. Thank you very much for these learnings for these insights from implementing this project in your municipality. Thank you, dear Mayor, for sharing the points.
Thank you very much.
We would like to give a second opportunity also to discuss the issue of providing access and providing opportunities to our next speaker and panelist, which is Cemal Lekic. Cemal Lekic is director of the IT system service of the capital city of Podgorica. And Cemal, after the video, we also have a couple of questions how you did it in Podgorica. And right now, my colleague is starting the video.
The capital city of Podgorica is the economic, political and administrative center of Montenegro with the largest population. During the COVID-19 pandemics, it has faced similar challenges as all other local government units related to protecting citizens' health and well-being. The city has implemented a number of health, social and economic measures to mitigate the effects of the pandemics. Digitalization was one of them.
The capital city Podgorica is the largest local administration in Montenegro. In the period of crisis, very quickly switched to already established public digital services, which have saved citizens' time and, most importantly, have saved their health in such a way that our citizens use internet services instead of making personal contacts or visiting public institutions.
The city established free channels of communication with its citizens via toll-free telephone number and email, and created a new website that provides insight to citizens, tourists, investors and their stakeholders into all procedures carried out by the capital with appropriate forms which are to be filled in without coming to the city premises. Some municipal public utility companies developed online payment for their services, enabling citizens to pay their utility bills from home.
At the same time, all of this enabled us to reduce the number of employees at the counters of the bodies of the capital city to the prescribed number in accordance with the epidemiological recommendations, thus to protect our employees.
Also an interesting project, the city of Podgorica switched quickly their service delivery to online platforms, offering access via email on a website and a call center. Cemal Lekic, you as the director of the information system service, I think you also experienced quite busy days during this switch to more and more digital services. But it is not only about tools and these websites and databases. How did you transform also the way the public administration works internally? So we would be interested to learn a little bit from your experiences.
Yes, thank you, Stefan. In crisis conditions, people change their habits faster than in regular circumstances, when it's challenged to get out of their comfort zone. The management and employees of the administration of the capital city of Podgorica are aware of their basic function, to be at the service of citizens, and accordingly we quickly adapt to the new situation and provide services to citizens using digital type of communications. Montenegro is one of the last countries to be affected by coronavirus, so we start introducing preventive measures even before the presence of the virus was registered in our city. The Bureau for Communication with Citizens has been given a new role. As you said, a free telephone number has been determined, as well as
an email address where citizens can address their requests and questions. With this, we have achieved the citizens do not have to physically come to the counters, but to preserve their health and have direct communication with the city administration from the comfort of their home. Also, we have additionally promote the intensified the development of new digital services. Of the new projects, I would especially like to mention two important ones. The creation of the new web portal, podgorica.me, as well as the book Guide Through Administration. If we are talking about the highest level of adaptation of the need of citizens, that is exactly the synonym for the new portal of the capital city Podgorica. On the portal, you will find featured electronic services, a large number of interactive maps, presentation of the work of local government in the most transparent way. And it's also available in English language. On the other hand, we have created a book, Guide Through Administration, which is also available in an electronic format on our portal, and which contains more than 150 different types of patterns and over 200 procedures that describe how to exercise right and obligation with the city administration, with precise authorities, bodies, services, institutions, and companies, any necessary previous documentation, legal advice, as well as the price of administrative fees for these services for which is prescribed. All this has significantly made it easier to the citizen to exercise their rights without doubts and the need to visit a large number of counters.
Good, Cemal. I understood that you switched quickly, and the most prominent or the most important services, you put them online or you transferred them to the website or the call center. I know that in public administration, also on local level, there are hundreds of different services and procedures which perhaps are not already digitalized. So do you have plans for the future? Also, the internal processes which you haven't put on a website or which are not already in a database, do you have plans to also bring them online? And where would you start? Do you have any priorities? Which services internally or for other target groups should be available digitally?
Yes, Stefan, although we have worked hard in the previous period, we still have a lot of work to do in the field of digitalization. The main priority is to enable citizens to exercise all their rights and obligations with the city administration electronically without the need for physical arrival at the counters. We plan to achieve this by creating a one-stop shop where we will use the administration guide with all the necessary procedures and forms, and with use of identification documents, provide personal data protection, and enable the submissions of all requests electronically. Also, we plan to continue activities for the improvement of the work of the administration, first of all, by transforming all communication between officials and services in the city administration into digital channels without use of paper. We have already started this mode of operation in the test phase in the one service, which will be our benchmark for future upgrading and integration of the entire administration. Another important segment for improving the efficiency of the administration is connecting with government. Often our officials wait too long for the answers of the government institution, which caused the citizens to wait for the resolution of their request. Bearing in mind that electronic databases are mainly maintained in government, UNDP has launched the Government Service Bus project, which enables automatic electronic data exchange. The capital city is the only local government unit that has access to this service, and we are testing data from the tax administration in order to more efficiently record our institution for tax control at the local level. We expect to develop cooperation in the coming period and make full use of these services with all state institutions. We are also working on digitalization of each of our institutions and companies, especially these that have communication with large number of citizens, such as city theater, pattern work companies, and others.
Yeah. Okay, Gemma, so that would be also my last question. I heard, and the deputy mayor also said that people do not have to come to the public administration offices anymore. I can pay my bills for the public utility companies online. So actually, I don't have to leave my apartment or house anymore. But this has also a social effect on the city in terms of social well-being, spending money for the local economy if you go out to the restaurants and bars. Do you have any ideas or strategies also how to address recovery in economic and social aspects in Podgorica?
Yes, Stefan. In April, the mayor of capital city Podgorica passed a decision on mitigating the financial consequences of the coronavirus in capital cities, where it is precisely defined what are the benefits for citizens and the economy given in the decline in liquidity. This was followed by several decisions and measures of the capital city that focus on the most vulnerable activities and the release of businessmen up to 100% of local tax liabilities. The third package of economic measures of the government of Montenegro related to the support to citizens and the economy to mitigate the consequences of the coronavirus pandemic worth 1.22 billion euros, as well as the decision of the capital city to support economic activities in Podgorica, which provide additional business facilities and support due to the circumstances caused by the coronavirus, represent a responsible and long-term thoughtful attitude toward the current situation in which our state and society currently are. In this way, adequate preconditions are created for the sustainability of all economic activities and the continuation of certain development with additional security for employees, pensioners, beneficiaries of social benefits, and all our citizens. Also, in addition to the direct impact of these measures, indirect incentives and multiple effects are especially important, which will be realized through the realization of capital investments of the government and the capital city, and these contribute to the significantly higher volume of overall economic activities and more efficient mitigation of coronavirus. Being aware of the importance and weight of these short-term and long-term measures, that guarantee the existence and continuation of many successful companies, small and medium enterprise in Podgorica, a large number of businessmen express gratitude and respect to the government of Montenegro and capital city in order to presentive economic and financial stability, but also the material security of each family and each individual. At the time when both much larger and developed countries and economics are facing serious challenges, forced to even close production facilities and eliminate many jobs, the government of Montenegro and the capital have made key decisions regarding investment in their own development, sustainability, and strategic investments. In this way, all preconditions have been created to turn the challenges and consequences of the coronavirus pandemic into the new opportunities and create a new value for each individual and our country in the coming period, using all available resources.
Good. Thank you very much, Džema Lekić, for sharing the experiences from Podgorica. You are providing access to municipal services online, but much more, as we heard in your last statement. And I would like also to thank Vladimir Prebilic, the mayor of the municipality of Kočevje from Slovenia. So there we learned about how to put educational measures into the focus of the municipality and how to support teachers, schools, and parents in homeschooling and how to organize this process. Thank you very much for your contributions in the second panel. We would like right now to give you the opportunity to move a little bit, to have a glass of water and to rest a little bit your eyes, because right now we were looking for almost 1.5 hours to the screen, and we would like that you take a short rest. I would like to really ask you to come back, because in our third panel, it's getting even more interesting if we talk about support to local economy. So there we will have presentations coming from Slatina municipality and from Čigoč in Romania. So that is very interesting, will be very interesting. So please join us back here at 10 to 3, which is 14:50, and so we will show during this break a little bit the videos from Istanbul, from Podgorica and the other municipalities, so you will have some entertainment, but at 10 to 3 we are starting sharp, and then we have the third panel, and then we come also to the policy recommendations, which will be presented by the executive director of NALAS. So take a rest, have a drink, some coffee, tea or water is preferred, and see you back in 8 minutes. And Yelena is showing the videos, perfect.
Economy during the COVID-19 pandemic caused the number of citizens in need of social assistance to increase by 5 times in Istanbul. As Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, we primarily increased our social aid budget 4 times to solve this major problem. On the other hand, we created mechanism to mobilize solidarity. The Bill on the Hook project we started for this purpose was an absolute turning point. 178,000 Istanbulites lost too much of their income to pay their water and natural gas bills. The total amount of their bills, which is 24,500,000 liras, was paid by wealthier Istanbulites. One reason that the Bill on the Hook campaign has been so successful is the trust put in our management. But the main reason is that people are ready to support each other in difficult times when the campaign has the right mechanism. As Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, we are proud of both our campaign and our people.
Okay, dear colleagues, so We have a minute left, and so I just want to check a little bit with your energy level, if you are still alive and full of energy, and I would like you to give me a hand sign. So I would ask you to either show me one of the reactions. You can put the thumb up like this. You have it here in the toolbar, and there you have reactions. You can give either applause or a thumbs up. So I would like to invite everyone to put a thumb up, so then I see that you're still there and full of energy. Okay. Good. We still have more than 100 participants. Okay, so all the others, I would like Katarina, I see your thumb up. How about the others? Lena Harris Pomeroy, that's great. And Ivana Petrovska, you raised your hand. Would you like to say something, or is that just a sign of that you are alive and kicking? Good, okay. Good, dear colleagues, we have one more panel which is focusing on the aspect of supporting the local economy in times of crisis. And we are all aware that the local economy was hit hard, most hard. The big industries, they could somehow balance this impact right now. The small companies, the medium-sized companies in your municipalities, they're really struggling. But it's good that we have right now in our third panel some ideas and some experienced mayors and experts that give us an idea what works to support the local economy in times of crisis. So we are going to start with a video and an exchange with the mayor of Chigot municipality, which is Mr. George Damian. And Mr. Damian is accompanied by his colleague Daniel Lungo, who is working as communication officer in Chigot municipality. And then we have a second case study and example from the municipality of Slatina. And there we have the pleasure to have the mayor Denis Ostrucic with us. And Mr. Mayor is joined by his colleague Anita Rastia, who is working as the head of the development department in Slatina municipality in Croatia. So as it is already a good habit, we are going to start to share a video, and this is coming from Romania and is giving us an idea on how to establish an online platform for offering domestic products. And Yelena, could I ask you to start the video? It's running.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, many companies experienced declining revenues jeopardizing their business. Businesses in Croatia were able to alleviate this situation by applying for calls at national, regional, and local level, which were intended to help entrepreneurs in the form of financial incentives. Many local entrepreneurs needed help in preparation of the documentation to apply for tenders and public calls. In order to meet this challenge, the city of Slatina decided, among other things, to offer entrepreneurs free consulting services of its local development agency, so that the requests of entrepreneurs are better prepared and thus increase their chances of obtaining funding.
U periodu COVID krize Gradska razvojna agencija Slatina je elektronskom poštom poslala 16 zbirnih obavijesti s aktualnim novostima. Izravno na 150 adresa poduzetnika te na adresu Udruženja obrtnika Slatina, a onda oni proslijedili svojim članovima, a na svojoj web stranici objavili su 50 obavijesti vezanih za poduzetništvo tijekom krize. Obavili su približno 500 savjetovanja u kontaktima elektronskom poštom i telefonom. Procjena Gradske razvojne agencije da je usluge ove mjere izravno koristilo ukupno najmanje 300 poduzetnika. Uspostavljanjem ove linije pomoći lokalnim poduzetnicima, grad Slatina izravno je pomogao u dobivanju financijskih pomoći lokalnim poduzetnicima, ublažio utjecaj krize na njihovo poslovanje te posljedično spriječio gubitak radnih mjesta.
So, as you have all noticed, we are starting with Slatina, and we would be interested to have a short exchange with Anita Rastia and also the mayor of Slatina on the free consulting services for local businesses. And the first question to the team from Slatina was, you're offering these consulting packages and opportunities to support local businesses. So what was the impact? So how was this welcomed by the business community in Slatina? Could you give us some description how the business community was interacting with you?
Hello. Well, yes, during the partial or total shutdown of businesses caused by COVID-19, different forms of help for businesses were offered at local, regional, or national level. Entrepreneurs found themselves not only in business problems, but now they had to find a way in lots of paperwork to get financial help and try to save their businesses. City of Slatina, among other measures in the Corona crisis, offered free consulting services of our local development agency that followed all actualities and all the news regarding safety and doing business during pandemia coming from the Civil Protection Headquarters. Also, they followed financial assistance measures of the government, the county or city of Slatina, and forwarded directly to the entrepreneurs or to their associations that forwarded its news on to their members. All the news are also available on the website of the City Development Agency of Slatina. Consultations they conducted, as well as filling in the applications form for public calls, created business plans, helped to make more than 500 quality, administratively accurate applications that help entrepreneurs to get financial help from the city, county, or state, and save and continue their business and maintain employment. So we believe that we managed to mitigate the impact of the economic crisis on a local level with this measure.
Okay. Yeah, so the application procedures, they are hugely complex. You have to provide a lot of information, and I guess that a lot of local businesses are overwhelmed, and it's good that you as a municipality help them to come up with quality applications for local, regional, or national programs. Thank you very much. So looking right now at the key challenges that businesses in Slatina faced. So what are right now your strategies to support them in the future? Because the application was one part. Do you have ideas what is needed in the next couple of months this year, in October, November, December, but also beyond that?
Yes. Well, the challenges that entrepreneurs faced during this crisis was the stagnation of business, which also affected suppliers and slowed down the whole production process in the chain. Those who could had to maintain to work from home. Others have adopted working with fewer people within more groups. Digital transformation, new sales channels have become key to survival, and many firms have used it to improve their businesses. But we cannot deny the challenges that entrepreneurs face today: lower demand, decline in export and import as well, lack of material, and the consequences of a drop in tourism of Croatia. Business people in Slatina also feels as a suppliers. So we, as a local government, are aware that we can and should mitigate the negative effects of external factors such as coronavirus on local economic development. So the first measures we took were to release businesses from the coast to the city of Slatina that burdened their businesses in this time of economic crisis. In that way, we took part of the responsibility for the recovery of the local economy because of the lockdown. On the other hand, we gave grant financial support to the entrepreneurs to influence the improvement of their liquidity during shutdown so that they can, when circumstances normalize, continue their businesses and maintain employment. As a long-term strategy, City of Slatina supports businesses with a program of measures developed for small and medium enterprises with a budget of 200,000 euros per year that are intended for encouraging development of entrepreneurship through subsidies, developing entrepreneurial infrastructure through purchase of equipment, development of innovative products, strengthening entrepreneurs in the market, stimulating education, etc. We have good feedback from the entrepreneurs on the field. We are just preparing a second public call for this year to publish it these days, and we intend to continue with this program and to support businesses in the future as well.
Good, thank you. Yeah, it's interesting to see that you're offering a huge variety of different support measures to local businesses, and also doing some tax decreases to support the local economy. So we learned from the study Thomas presented at the very beginning that these financial concerns are definitely the biggest question for the local companies, but also for you as a municipality. So we wish you success in this support measures, and it's good to hear that you are in this regular exchange and support of your local business community. Thank you very much, dear Mayor of the city of Slatina, and thank you very much, Anita.
If I can say,
yes, please.
If I can say just a few words. My English is pidgin, so sorry for that.
No problem.
Talk in English, but I want to say just one thing. Thank you for the opportunity that we have today to show like a little society that we fight with the corona like the others. We cannot compare with Istanbul, 17 million citizens. Podgorica is a city main city of Montenegro. We are just a small town with 12,000 people in Slavonia, in Croatia. But we try to react very fast, and we, I think, made a good decision and make a lot of good measures for this fight with Corona. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And it's again important to stress, it is not always about just the big programs with a huge financial package behind it, but these are these little local initiatives that do a difference, and it's really visible that you are helping your business community by going the extra mile and supporting different aspects of the business community. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we had a small but very good and very, very fine team, and I'm glad and I thank to them for everything what they did for our society and our local business.
Thank you, Dennis. It requires teamwork as we hear it from you and the others. Thank you. So we have a second example in how to support the local businesses. And now we're going to Ciugut in Romania, and we see this video right now.
The state of emergency, curfews and limitations of movement during the COVID-19 pandemics pose serious challenges for the small producers from Romanian villages in selling their products and earning income for their families. During this difficult time, Ciugut City Hall promoted the initiative for an online platform that promotes the offer of local producers and their products, clean, fresh, and 100% Romanian. The idea started in Ciugut, a commune that initiated the Smart Village concept and expanded nationally in support of Romanian producers.
Ajutat să-mi vând cam 80% din legumele pe care le-am avut în această primăvară. Având în vedere situația de criză, ar fi trebuit să le arunc altfel. Am avut în permanență clienți prin acest aprozar. Îi sfătuiesc pe toți producătorii să se înscrie pe aprozarul virtual al Comunei Ciugut. Este chiar un ajutor de nădejde.
Vrem, nu vrem, trebuie să acceptăm că, indiferent cât de mult sau cât de conservatori am fi, viața noastră nu mai poate să se desfășoare în ritmul pe care noi ne-l dorim fără digitalizare. Drept pentru care și micul producător vedem cu toții cât de încântat, cât de la îndemână este această, doar un exemplu, această platformă virtuală. Drept pentru care considerăm că astfel de soluții sunt cumva nu doar provocatoare pentru ei, ci sunt acea gură de oxigen de care micul producător are nevoie. Credeți în digitalizare, credeți că este soluția pentru a ne face viața mai ușoară și totodată pentru a
Okay, thank you very much to the colleagues from Ciugut in Romania. We already saw in the video the mayor, George Damian, and we have with us Dan Lungo as communication officer of the municipality. So right now we saw that you didn't just did it on local level, but you expanded the platform also on national level, which is a huge success. But I know, or we all know, how difficult that is to organize these logistical processes, to collect the products, to put them on this online platform. So how did you succeed, again, as a small municipality, to set up this process and to handle the logistics so that you can also cater for a national market? So,
good afternoon. My name is Dan Lungu. I am the communication officer of Ciugut City Hall. First, please allow me to send you greetings and good thoughts from Mr. Mayor George Damian. Unfortunately, Mr. Mayor cannot be with us today, but I hope I will help you with all the information. Please, thank you for the opportunity to talk about our village. Ciugut, I think, is a village with not so many inhabitants. We have 3,200 inhabitants. And Ciugut is the official promoter of the Smart Village concept in Romania, and we are working with our government, with the Romanian government, to develop smart villages projects. Speaking about Aprozarul Virtual, this is an online platform that promotes the local producers and their products. We started with 10 farmers from Ciugut, and now we have several hundred farmers from all over the country. It's not so hard because this platform is a free platform that facilitates contact between the customer and the small farmer without another third party intervening in the sale. We wanted this platform to be a help for farmers across the country, and now we are offer this platform free for everyone who want to use it. We believe that these solutions are beneficial for small farmers and for our villages, no matter what crisis we will face in the future, not only coronavirus crisis.
Good, Daniel. It seems that you are prepared for the next crisis, so you have already ideas how to handle that. That's great to hear. So, Daniel, setting up the platform, you said it is just you are just acting as broker. They are putting them the producers and the customers. They are connecting themselves. So, and we saw in the video that some of your local producers had the opportunity, even under the lockdown condition, to sell 80% of their products via this platform, which is a huge success. So which other successes or positive developments did you witness in your municipality?
Oh, okay. We have a lot of smart ideas. Let me tell you about one. I hope I can show you something. This is my card. This is my citizen card. With this card, I can pay all my local taxes and bills with this card. Okay. This is another smart idea in our community, in our village, and we think the digitalization is the solution for any crisis. Even if we are talking about the coronavirus crisis or maybe on another crisis, we hope not.
Okay. Good. And are you involving also the local businesses in developing these new ideas, or is this citizen card just to pay my taxes?
No, this card is just for taxes. This is something like a digital ID card for our citizens.
Good. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much also for this idea. Send our regards also to the Mayor Damian. And right now we are in the lucky situation that we can collect some questions from our participants. And Mr. Lungo and Anita and all the others so are still around, and perhaps right now I can activate our participants to put some additional questions into the chat and to get into an exchange on how to support local economy and businesses. And perhaps there are also some other questions. Right now I'm looking at the chat, and I would really like you to contribute and to put some questions to our experts and delegates from the various cities and municipalities. So we have here the first question coming in. This is for you, Daniel. What technology does the digital ID card use? So are you using some blockchain technology, or how do you organize that?
Okay, it's a very simple idea. We are using a barcode,
okay.
Barcode, and it's very simple. This is my ID number, and this ID number is a barcode.
Okay, Good. Now we copied all your barcode and the number, Daniel, so don't get irritated if everyone is using your number in the future.
May I tell you something? In Chugud, we are trying to be very helpful with our colleagues, and if you want to share with us your ideas, we are glad to share with you our ideas too.
Okay, that's great. We appreciate that, and let's see if there are more questions coming in from the participants. So now is your chance. We had 6 interesting presentations, more than 14 experts and mayor contributing in the different panels. So I guess that there are some further questions. Greetings to everyone. I would like to ask if there were some innovative measures for running social care services during the pandemic in the different countries. So perhaps that's a question for all our panelists, also from panel 1 and 2. So how do you deal with the social care services on municipal level? So under the shutdown, there were some huge challenges around. So how did you deal in this regard with social services? Does anyone want to answer this one? No, perhaps Thomas. It's not already. What was that part of the analysis as well? The different service branches of the municipalities?
It was, do you hear me? I'm not sure now. Yeah. I mean, it was not directly a part of the service, but within the collected cases, of course, social innovative measures have been somehow collected. So all these what is presented in the study is somehow maybe from our side these innovative. But what I wanted to, when you ask me now directly, because that you can read when you ask me, I have also experience from other countries, and what we saw is really these how to say this the approach of voluntary work, yeah, or the municipalities, cities organizing or supporting, coordinating these voluntary support. For example, as we heard also before, common shopping activities, huh? So that voluntaries go and have shopping for older people or something like that. So what when you ask me personally, and from my experience, what is really new and innovative is this really high new approach of people voluntarily supporting. This is a kind of collaboration, a new collaboration, which I think is quite innovative.
Good. Thank you, Thomas. So if you're interested in additional cases, you can find them in the survey report. And you're absolutely right. During the last couple of months, there was so much will to contribute coming from the different communities, coming from the citizens side, from the business side, but someone has to organize the processes and has to organize the platform. Right now, we saw some very interesting approaches how to do that online. We saw that from Romania, in Istanbul provide a platform, and people are willing to contribute and to share and offer their support either to disabled or disadvantaged groups, or also to businesses in terms of selling their products or supporting them with other support measures. Good. Thank you very much. So this will lead us over to the final section where we think about, so we heard right now the good examples and the best practices from various municipalities in the region. So what are the reflections and what do the local government associations right now take from this survey and take as learning point from the last months to the further political discussion and in the formulation of position points. And we would like to have two reflections from two colleagues. I would like to start and invite Mr. Stanicic with us, the Secretary General of the Standing Conference of Towns and Municipalities in Serbia. And the second reflection will come from Mr. Ibrahimi, Executive Director of the Association of Kosovo Municipalities. And would like to invite the Secretary General of the Standing Committee to start. So what are your reflections? What are the learning points from your side and from your association?
Hello?
Hello.
Hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends and colleagues, I'm so happy and honored to be a part of this wonderful and well-organized online event. After careful watching of all 6 good practices, examples from municipalities around Europe, I would like to point out very notable result. And that is, we have really invested but new ways of connecting to new technologies and digitalization to keep us and our families and friends safe as much as possible. Activities of Standing Conference of Towns and Municipalities are now adapted to the new reality, the one very different than previous one. During the period of the state of emergency, the Standing Conference is Secretariat switched to the work of employees to home in accordance with the extraordinary circumstances and the recommendation of the state authorities. It was transitioned to another mode of operation in which the implementation of all STTM activities that were performed in that period was actively continued, especially activities of support to its members and those aimed to reducing consequences of the pandemic. The STTM advocacy activities towards national level consisted of launching important initiatives in the area of working relation of local employees, especially signing special collective agreement with National Trade Union and Ministry of Public Administration, status of EU funding of local projects, postponing deadlines of area in local finances, request for defining national measures for financial support to local governments. One of the key activity of SCTM in this period was support for solving the challenges faced by local governments. In this regard, primarily through the cabinets of the mayors and the network of local government professionals, the SCTM was in continuous communication with people from local self-government, collected their questions and requests for support, trying to help and especially to communicate with national authorities in solving problems of local level. Some of these examples are solving movement to disabled persons, which result in e-procedures for issuing in permits, except exceptions of prohibited movements of sick people, prepare a couple of models of local acts. A model of decision on work from home, a model of weekly work for plan of administration during the state of emergency, and the model of decision of termination of work from home. Delivering hygiene and food packages for Roma community, prospective equipment for employees in local self-governments, support in intermunicipal cooperation in the pandemic, and delivering disinfectants and transferring good practices in communication to our citizens were also some in the major activities. The SCTM has launched a new services through which is possible to inform the top management of cities and municipalities about the most important information via standardized SMS messages. Important information regarding COVID were published in the website and local and social network. A special page, COVID-19, latest news from cities and municipalities was opened, which connected with connected news from local government websites with measures taken by them to combat the virus. A special page, Emergency Situation in the Republic of Serbia, was opened, which connected links to decisions, measures, and instructions of the government of institutions of the government of Serbia, genetic information on the services of emergency medical services, as well as a link to cities of major national institutions. Also, a special page dedicated to the activities of international and European organizations during the COVID-19 crisis was been launched. The SCTM has become a member of the COVID-19 work group of CMR, discussing issues and problems of local authorities in time of crisis, participating in different researching and policy proposals. The SCTM, as a member of CMR, joined the European partners in marking European Day of 9 May as a part of European Parliament's #Europe Day and #European Against for COVID-19 campaign on solidarity is reality. On that occasion, I spoke via video feed about the need for cooperation at the local level and all the unity, solidarity, and strengthening partnership in difficult times. Finally, our representatives participate in the third political forum with the high-level political forum related to the Sustainable Development Goals, which was dedicated to the localization of the 2030 agenda in recovery from the pandemic. We also participate in the work on the Congress of Local Regional Authorities, promoted the declaration to combat COVID-19 and begin part of Congress COVID-19 Hub. Dear friends, thank you for your attention. I'm very looking forward to meeting you all in person once we have all in this behind us. Stay safely and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, dear colleague. Thank you very much, Mr. Stanicic. So we hear the associations of local government are even more important as they were before, and you gave us some good ideas what you are doing, what you are organizing on behalf of your member municipalities. So collecting the different problems, the different challenges, and to put that into the policy dialogue is one important function. So the other is spreading information. And it's good to hear that you have right now a good communication channel, sending out direct messages to the different mayors and the municipalities. Thank you very much for that. So we have a further reflection coming from Jajan Ibrahimi, who is Executive Director of AKM, which is the Association of Kosovo Municipalities. Mr. Ibrahimi, also your reflections of these learnings and the recent developments.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you very much to NALAS for organizing this very important event, in which we had opportunities to share our good practices, but also to learn from different municipalities how they are going through the phase of COVID, what they did so far and what they are going to do in the future. First of all, I have to thank to all the mayors and municipalities actually in Kosovo, first of all, but also in other countries, for being in front line and supporting the citizens during this phase. I have to say that in Kosovo we have few mayors that were infected by COVID-19, but now they are fully recovered. So this is important for us. So with this example, I have to say that the mayors, they were in front line all over the time. On regards to what we did as the association, from the beginning we started, actually we had also very important and proper communication with central level, but during from March until now, and we are continuing the same cooperation and coordination, we strengthen the coordination. And I have to say that we as the association are in daily contact with the Prime Minister, with different ministers from different line ministries, but also we have regular online meetings with the mayors and with our collegias. Collegias are kind of the sectorial associations that are functioning within our association, and we have around 17 associations. So I have to say that everything what was done so far on regards to the COVID and all the measures that were undertaken by our government on regards to fighting COVID, the municipalities through the association were consulted. In all the decisions, association was present and representing municipalities. But also as the association, we had the opportunities to report in front of the parliament as well, in front of the different parliamentary commissions regarding the situation at the municipal level. So we are in daily contact with all municipalities. We have very good cooperation, coordination with the Prime Minister directly, and also with the line ministers, as is the Minister of Health, Education, Agriculture as well, because it is very important for our farmers, because they were facing a lot of challenges during this, actually during this time. And also with the Minister of Finance, because we received millions of euros with our lobbying, we received a lot of millions, let's say, for supporting municipalities at local level. And just recently now we do have an agreement that the same budget that was during 2020 will stay in 2021, even though that it's a big crisis on collecting not just municipal revenues, but also the revenues from central level. So in general, I can say that our directors and mayors, they did a great job, but it is very good also to learn what the other mayors and other associations did in Southeast Europe. So I have to conclude with this, that I have to thank once more NALAS for organizing this important event. And I have to say that there were a lot of good practices that could be translated in Kosovo as well. So this is briefly, because I don't want to take this very important time, but also now we are coming to the end of the meeting and everybody is feeling more satisfied to come to the end rather than listening to me. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahimi. Thank you very much for being in time and keeping the time limit. So it's good also to hear that you are raising the voice of your member municipalities and that you're in active exchange with the different ministries, Ministry of Finance, Health, and also with the Prime Minister. So that will help, and it's needed more than ever. So right now at the very end, someone has a very difficult task. So we heard all the different analysis results coming from the survey, from the report. We heard the positions of the Congress on European level. So we learned about the concrete activities on local level. And now the executive director of NALAS, our dear colleague Kelman Sayazi, has somehow the difficult task to present the policy positions. So you haven't just invented them, but you already discussed that, and you coordinated this process in coming up policy recommendations. And Kelman, I will share my screen to have the slide with the policy recommendations or positions for the local governments in Southeast Europe. Kelman.
Before we go to the slide, maybe some general reflection. Yes, I have a difficult task, but also it is a pleasure to somehow summarize the key messages that are coming from the study and in particular from the conference. Well, we are already very deep into the crisis. It's already 6 months past. And while in the beginning, maybe in a couple of months, we were all wondering how long it will last and what will happen, what will be the impact. Now I think it's a good time to reflect on our practices and to look at what are the measures that need to be taken, because now it's clear that the crisis will stay with us for long enough that we need to really maybe also address this at policy level. So our local government association, our members will be quite busy these days in adjusting policies in a way that it will address much better the real needs that are coming from the community level. If I can put all these recommendations that are coming into one common word, maybe it's a mobilization. It is about mobilizing, whether it's about solidarity or resources, finances, digitalization. It's all about mobilization, and in that perspective, I may say that if there are any doubts for any government, whether in times of crisis, maybe we should just look over the principles of European Charter of Local Self-Government that was mentioned in the beginning, and maybe centralize a little bit to better manage the crisis. That would be really wrong, a wrong direction, because the local autonomy and decentralization is the way to mobilize. And that's I will start now to go very quickly through the main. We have divided this into main 5 clusters of recommendations. So the first one is exactly that one, that there should be even more consultation, cooperation, coordination between central and local level. This is also maybe an opportunity to streamline, to institutionalize, to put some rules into these consultation process, and also crisis management. It needs it's a final time that that there is a regulated form of local government associations to be fully involved in crisis management. And all these recommendations are actually coming, are drafted by the shortcomings that were reported in our study, but also from these experiences that are coming also from the review of good practices. So going further in the second cluster in finances, it is a very dramatic, maybe a frightening projection how much local governments in our network in Southeast Europe are losing, and will be losing if this is to be continued in the next couple of years. It is measured with trillions of euros, and it is expected that we will go backwards 10 years of continuous small progress that we have had in the past 10 years will go backwards. So this is a very dramatic situation, and of course it is very clear that it comes from the gaps because of increased spending, but on the other hand, decreased revenues and also decreased economic activity that also brings less revenues at the local level. So the gap is huge, and we are calling here the central government to give more, to plan more to local authorities in the coming years. Whether we are asking for more grants, increased grants, more targeted capital investments that will really make the economic life going, and this way preventing further loss of jobs. But also equalization is important because there are some smaller units of local governments that cannot really bear with this big stress. So give more, but also give more autonomy and flexibility, and in terms of tax powers, in terms of local borrowing. So local governments need to have also different instruments how to cover these gaps, and the local borrowing should be much more streamlined. Also flexibility in how the budget is managed. For instance, how to manage the budget deficits, reallocations of funds, procurement process. So this should all be regulated in a much more flexible way in the times of crisis. Economic recovery, and this is all about what we are talking today. It is a pity that only 40% of local governments already have recovery plans. So that there's a huge, as Thomas mentioned, there's a huge space here to do good planning, and here we can use these exchange that we have in exchange of practices. This can be inspire our local governments to do better plans. I mean, we saw today the Kolibashi, the Siugat, Slatina, the free consulting, all these activities that are so interesting, they can already be put in the plans, in the future plans of local governments. We expect targeted support from central government to invest in recovery, in economic recovery, and also social, more responsibilities to be given to local economic development to local governments, and also EU funding absorption capacities. It is a priority that that associations invest a little bit because there are. I mean, recently the EU Commission announced 410 million only for the Western Balkans funding for recovery, and local governments need to be prepared to be able to utilize on these opportunities. Social recovery is a very important part of it. We saw what was done in Istanbul in mobilizing solidarity based on tradition, on culture of solidarity. In Kočevje, we've seen also how to increase the access to education to a vulnerable part of children, and also social protection systems need to be invested and to be decentralized. And then finally, I think this is maybe one of the opportunities that is coming from out of this crisis to accelerate the digital transition. Our countries are in digital transition, our societies in any case, but this is an opportunity to accelerate this process. And here we saw actually in Kočevje how what municipality did. This is actually what we are proposing. These investing in digital capacities, digital skills, but also in digital infrastructure. These are must investments to have, and then to go further in digitalization of services, public services, especially education. So this is all levels of education are anyway about to be digitalized, and the distance learning is an important element that that will be embedded. Also, remote working is a new way of working, which there is also a recommendation that maybe this should be regulated somehow, put into frame, because that's something not only helps the municipal employees to have a more healthy health protection, but it's also a new way of performing, which might be a new trend coming up in the corner. So in general, I think what we are saying is that the investment in digitalization will also increase the access to services and will prevent a very dangerous threat of even more urban-rural migration. Because if in these circumstances, the small communities or remote areas, rural areas will be cut off the services, there will be even bigger urban migration, which is anyway very high in the region until now. So now maybe to say only a summarizing sentence that I would like to thank all the network. I mean, all our members were involved heavily in producing the report and also in organizing the conference. I will really want to warmly thank you for their openness and very important input they gave. And this is I must say this is an example of what we can achieve when we pool collectively our knowledge. There will be a follow-up. So either, I mean, these recommendations, policy recommendations will be fully, will be further formulated and then disseminated to our governments collectively, but also individually within any local government association. We can also approach your governments with a specific policy recommendations from the list. So thank you. I give you back the floor, Stefan.
Good. I have not much to add. Thank you very much, Kelmant. So that was a very good summary. And so looking at the positions, I think all the aspects which we discussed this afternoon and which are part of the survey are somehow integrated in your wheel, and you will use that for further communication of the positions of the associations of local government. So I thank you all again for your contribution, for your patience. I thank the NALAS teams for perfectly organizing, handling the technicalities, and at least I had the feeling that we were meeting and that we were close to each other. So I enjoyed that very much. I wish you a very nice afternoon, success, and all the best for all your initiatives. And you will find the follow-up on the NALAS website. Also, the survey, please share that with your colleagues, with other associations or organizations. So it's good to spread the word about the good practices. All the best, and see you soon again.
And a big thank you for you, Stefan, for great moderation. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye-bye. All the best.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Любавши.
Bye. Kermit, I just refresh myself and Samra and Yelena, and then perhaps we can have a very short wrap up. I just have to get a glass of water.
Yes, sounds good.
So give me a minute.
You have earned it, Stefan.
Once again?
Well deserved. You have well deserved it.
Okay, I'll be back in a minute, okay?
Yes.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Keep up the great work.
We are inviting you to Ciugud in Romania.
First flight opportunity will come.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much for we will need to continue together.
Thank you, Osman. All the best.
Okay. Good. Samra, did you have a look how many participants were there at the very end? Was that 80 something?
78, exactly. The biggest number was 141 and the lowest 78.
Yeah.
No, I think it was 148.
41 I noted, maybe I have missed some.
141.
41, Samra says. She's the boss of the technology.
Okay.
I'm not fighting it.
And, yeah, then you saw with this break, it's always the risk that people are getting out, but it already started, I think, 5 minutes before we had this short break that people were leaving, right?
Stefan, excuse me. Can we just continue 1 second? I need to deal with some technical.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. Stefan, do you need me or for
no,
the final
not
wrap up?
really,
No, I
so.
guess not. Yeah.
So,
Congratulations. I'm impressed how you all. I mean, I don't know how you did it. That everyone stayed in the time frame. Maybe that's the online system. I'm impressed. Yeah. If you need me, call me. But I get out now. Huh?
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
We have to work on our podcast, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas. You were great.
Yeah. Thank you, Yelena. Bye-bye. All the best. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao, Thomas.
Okay, we're right now.
Okay, we are alone now, Stefan. That was the point. There were many people present, so we didn't want to.
Yeah, that's good. So thank you once again. So I think it was a perfect venue, and so from the timing, from the technology, so there were no major hiccups. I liked it.
Yeah, I think it went very well.
Yeah.
I also think it went very well, and the feedback that I've been receiving from our colleagues, from our network, but also beyond, it was really, really positive. Because I in the meantime, I was getting in touch with task force members, and all of them, they were really enjoying the presentation on the practices, and it was really nicely done. The same goes with our colleagues from UCLG as well. There were representatives from these other organizations, international organizations. I mean, really also enjoying the conference very, very much. So congrats to all of you. I mean, excellent work. Excellent work.
Good, Kermit. Also the
really,
policy recommendations, I think you all summarized that, and yeah, good luck in right now spreading the word and yeah, promoting a little bit the survey.